Hey guys, it's Tony Milo with Let's Talk Sports, and today I am doing a record prediction list for the NFL this season. AFC East, Buffalo Bills 9-7. Now, the Buffalo Bills have a very strong defense, arguably a top 5 defense in the NFL, and honestly, I think this is enough to win them the division. Their offense is going to be better than it was last season because of the addition of star wideout Stephon Diggs. Running back Devin Singletary could also have a strong year this season. Only time will tell for the Buffalo Bills, but I do think they will stop the Patriots' winning streak of this division this season. New England Patriots, 8-8. I have the post-Tom Brady Patriots finishing outside of a playoff spot this season. As much as I like the Cam Newton move, who is a former MVP, he most likely won't start week 1 or even the first couple weeks of the season because of the fact that there is no preseason. This will take away the real game opportunity for Newton. Also, I just don't think the Patriots have enough weapons on offense. Their defense is elite. That's what you're going to get with the Belichick team. But their offense is just what is going to limit them this season. However, I do think they will fight for this division and have potential to win it, but I just don't think they will. I have them finishing 8-8 this year. Miami Dolphins, 6-10. The Dolphins are a weird one. I think they have a decent roster and a great coach. Brian Flores has proven a lot in his first season with Miami and carried one of the worst rosters in the NFL to a strong last 5 weeks. They went 3-2, beating the Eagles, Patriots, and Bengals. However, even if rookie quarterback Tua plays the whole season, I think this team is just a season or two away from actually blowing up and becoming a real threat in this division. The defense has the Patriot way with their elite corners. Brian Flores went all out for defense, and I think that'll help the Dolphins in some games, but I think they'll fall short to 6-10. But don't be surprised if they make a run for 8-8 or even better. Honestly, this Dolphins team is interesting. New York Jets, 5-11. After losing Jamal Adams, I feel like the Jets really lost their chance to win this division. Sam Darnold got the Jets an impressive 7-9 record last year, even after having mono. But I think after losing Jamal Adams, they will fall to around 5-11. But Adams wasn't the only big hit to the Jets this offseason. The loss of their top receiver, Robbie Anderson, will come back to hurt them. Along with 2 crucial losses on both sides of the ball, their schedule was very difficult. Don't expect too much from the Jets this season. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they finish lower than the 5-11 mark. AFC North. Baltimore Ravens, 12-4. Reigning MVP Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are going to have another strong season after getting better this offseason. With the addition of Calais Campbell and rookie J.K. Dobbins, I think this Ravens team will be strong throughout the whole season. Their defense is elite and arguably have a top 5 defense and offense. So I think the Ravens could push for a near undefeated season, but I expect them to be around 12-4. Pittsburgh Steelers, 10-6. Despite horrible quarterback play after the Big Ben injury last season, the Steelers still went 8-8 and nearly got a playoff spot. I think this Steelers team could win 10 games this season using their elite defense to carry them for most of the season. Big Ben doesn't have to be the Big Ben that we know and love to get this team to the playoffs, but expect a bounce-back year from him, Juju Smith, and James Conner. I expect to see a playoff run from the Steelers this season. Cleveland Browns, 9-7. The Browns. A great roster, but was very disappointing last season. I think this season they will get a winning record, but they will need good play from third-year quarterback Baker Mayfield, who had a huge sophomore slump last season, but he should bounce back a little bit. New coach Kevin Stefanski will help this Browns team actually live up to expectations this season. I could see the Browns with a 9-7 record this season. Cincinnati Bengals, 4-12. Bengals fans should have some hope for the future with the addition of Joe Burrow in this year's draft, but I just don't think this will fare them well in one of the hardest divisions in football. The Ravens and Steelers, I believe, will win both matchups this season against the Bengals, and I think the Browns could even snatch both games against the Bengals. However, if A.J. Green proves that he's still the elite receiver everyone remembers, the Bengals could fight for some games. It's still hard for me to see them winning more than 4 or 5 games, so don't expect too much, Bengals fans. AFC South. Houston Texans, 10-6. Even though Bill O'Brien made one of the worst trades this offseason, trading their all-pro wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, I can still see the Texans winning this division. They did add Brandon Cooks, who could have a great season with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. And Deshaun Watson is still miles ahead of the other quarterbacks inside this division. So I think they'll have another strong year. So expect the Texans to finish with around the same record that they had last year and win the division. Tennessee Titans, 9-7. The Titans are literally a 9-7 machine. They have finished each of the last 4 seasons with a 9-7 record. And this season, I don't think it'll be any different. I can't really see them touching the success that they had last season, but I do think Derrick Henry is a problem, and I do think most teams will have problems stopping him. So, Ryan Tannehill proved that he's good enough in the Titans system, and I expect him to carry the Titans to another 9-7 mark this season. Indianapolis Colts, 7-9. The Colts made some improvements this offseason, but I can't see them finishing higher than the record they had last year. I see them finishing 7-9 yet again this season. Sure, the additions of DeForest Buckner and Phillip Rivers add some star power to this Colts roster, but I just don't see them getting any better. I still don't think they can pass the 7-9 mark, so that's where I expect them to finish this season. Jacksonville Jaguars, 3-13. What else is there to say about the Jaguars? I just don't see them winning many games this year after trading away almost all their star players. Although Gardner Minshew looks promising, I just don't see much happening with one of the worst rosters in the league. I can't see them winning more than 5 games, and I can honestly see them losing every single game this year. This Jaguars roster just isn't good enough to win games, and I think they will have a very rough season finishing with only 3 wins. But hey, at least they'll be in the race for Trevor Lawrence. AFC West. Kansas City Chiefs, 12-4. The defending Super Bowl champs should expect to be in the playoffs yet again this year. They are clearly one of the league's best, if not the league's best team. Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterback talents we have ever seen. I think the Chiefs will continue to have the league's most explosive offense, and they should make a push to win the Super Bowl yet again. So, I expect around 12 wins from the Chiefs this season. Denver Broncos, 8-8. The Broncos improved the weapons around young quarterback Drew Lock, who should make huge strides this season. However, the Broncos are far second in this division to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Broncos will push for a wild card spot this season. It would not be a shock to see them in the playoffs, but I do think they will fall short with an 8-8 record this season. Las Vegas Raiders, 7-9. The Raiders are a good team, but I don't think they're a great team. They fortified their linebacker situation, which was one of the league's worst, by adding Corey Littleton. However, I don't think this is enough to make them a winning team. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have another great year on this team, but I don't think that's enough to get them over the 500 mark this season. I see the Raiders finishing 7-9 this season. Los Angeles Chargers, 6-10. The Chargers were a disappointment last season, to say the least. Poor quarterback play led them to a 5-11 record, and I think this will be their downfall yet again this season. I think they will finish around 6-10 with poor quarterback play being their main downfall this season. I think Tyrod Taylor is good, but not great, and rookie Justin Herbert may struggle a little bit because COVID-19 is taking his preseason away, which in turn takes away his opportunity to feel the NFL level before even getting in a game. I think the Chargers will have a similar season to last season, finishing last in the AFC West. NFC East. Philadelphia Eagles, 10-6. Last season we saw Carson Wentz carrying an injury-riddled Eagles team to the playoffs. I think if Wentz stays healthy this season, we should see the same result with a healthy receiving core. The addition of rookie receiver Jalen Reagor should also help the Eagles improve from their receiver issues last season. I could see the Eagles finishing with a 10-6 record and a second consecutive NFC East title this season. Dallas Cowboys, 9-7. The Cowboys will put up a fight all season with the Eagles for the NFC East. And I do think they have a strong roster with potential to win the division, but I do think they will fall short. Sure, they might have the top 3 receiving core, but a new coach without OTAs or preseason will hinder this Dallas team. I do think it'll be a battle for the NFC East title, but I do think they'll fall short, finishing 9-7 this season. New York Giants, 4-12. The Giants are still in a rebuilding phase. Even though they have superstar running back Saquon Barkley, that's just not enough to win them games. They don't have the team to win games in the NFL. But they'll be in the race for Trevor Lawrence this season, as the Giants are still rebuilding. I could see them winning anywhere between 3 and 7 games, but I'll put them at 4 games this season. The Washington football team, 3-13. I think the only interesting thing about the Washington football team this season will be the new name that they're going to choose at some point this year. The Washington football team's roster just isn't good at all. Sure, they added a stud rookie in Chase Young, and their defense looked to be better this season, but I don't think that's enough to win them any games this year. They just don't have firepower on offense, and I think this Washington team will be trailing in most of their games. They're going to be one of those teams fighting for Trevor Lawrence in this year's draft. I can see the Washington football team finishing with the same 3-13 record as last year. NFC North. Green Bay Packers, 11-5. Green Bay enjoyed a lot of success last season with first-year coach Matt LaFleur. After a great 13-3 regular season, they made a run to the NFC Championship game. Unfortunately, they fell short of the 49ers. After a bad draft and a quiet offseason, I think the Packers will regress a little bit this season. But I do think they will still win the division. It seems that the Packers are planning to yet again go run heavy, so expect Aaron Jones to have yet another good season. Now the Packers can win anywhere from 8 to 12 games this season, but I see them winning 11 games. Minnesota Vikings, 10-6. The Vikings have made the playoffs 3 times over the last 5 years, but they haven't won the division since 2015, and I just don't see that happening again this year. The Vikings have a very talented roster and should be able to compete with the best. With that being said, Kirk Cousins tends to play worse against winning teams, so I just don't see the Vikings outplaying the Packers this season. But I do think they will fight for the division and keep the Packers in check throughout the season. I see the Vikings winning anywhere between 7 and 12 games, but I think they'll finish with just 10 wins this season. Chicago Bears, 6-10. The Bears' elite defense took some steps back last season, and it's not their fault the team's quarterback play has been far from good. Mitch Trubisky has been average at best since entering the league. If the Bears had an elite quarterback, they could be a legit Super Bowl contender. However, that's just not the case. I don't think Nick Foles is going to solve anything, and I see the Bears finishing with yet another losing record this season. I just don't have trust in their quarterback play this season. Their defense will keep them in games, but I just don't see Foles or Trubisky leading this team to any better than last season. Expect the Bears to be between 4 and 9 wins this season, with my prediction being 6 wins for the season. Detroit Lions, 5-11. The Lions were hindered by Matthew Stafford's injury last season, but I still can't see them doing much better this season. Sure, the return of Stafford will keep them in games, but I don't see the Lions finishing anywhere but last in this division. They just don't have the firepower to win a lot of games. I see the Lions fighting for some games this season, but inevitably only winning 5 games this year. NFC South. New Orleans Saints, 12-4. The Saints are my clear favorite in this division. Sure, the Buccaneers added future Hall of Famer Tom Brady, the GOAT, but I don't think that'll change too much. I see the Saints still winning this division for the 4th year in a row. I don't know whether or not that'll turn into playoff success, but I do know that they will be in the playoffs. With the addition of Emmanuel Sanders, the Saints finally have a number 2 receiver, and hopefully this will help them prevent some heartbreak this year in the playoffs. I see the Saints finishing anywhere between 10 and 13 wins, but I do think they'll finish with 12 wins this season. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 10-6. The Buccaneers made flashes this offseason by signing future Hall of Famer and arguably the GOAT, Tom Brady. But as much as Brady makes the Buccaneers a playoff contender, I just don't see more than that from the Buccaneers. Brady will enjoy a great season this year as he will have Evans, Godwin, Gronk, and O.J. Howard as his big 4 targets. Also, the Buccaneers drafted Brady, one of the best offensive linemen in this year's draft. Expect an improvement from the Buccaneers this season, and expect a chance at the playoffs. They'll finish between 7 and 11 wins this year, but my prediction is 10-6 for the Buccaneers. Atlanta Falcons, 7-9. The Falcons made key additions in Todd Gurley and Dante Fowler this offseason, but I still don't see Atlanta winning this division, or even getting second. I think the Falcons will have a good year, but I just don't see the Falcons getting into the playoffs this season. Unless Todd Gurley regains his old form, I can see Atlanta with a winning record if that happens. But if Gurley fails to reach his old form, I just don't see an improvement from last year. Matt Ryan lost big tight end Austin Hooper, and he was replaced by a decent tight end in Hayden Hurst, but I just don't think that's good enough. I can see the Falcons finishing between 5 and 9 wins this season, but my prediction is 7 and 9. Carolina Panthers, 6 and 10. Now the Panthers are not a bad team. I think if they were in a different division, they could be fighting for the top spot. However, I just don't see the Panthers finishing with too great of a record this season. Since their Super Bowl season, they've been average with only 1 playoff appearance and 2 last place finishes. So, the Panthers have struggled to regain their 2015 form. But I do think Teddy Bridgewater can help the Panthers win some games. Teddy Bridgewater proved he can still win games last season for the Saints, after going 5-0 while Drew Brees was hurt. If he ends up playing at that high level of a performance this season, I can see the Panthers winning up to 9 games. But if he struggles, I can see them winning as little as 4 games. So, my prediction is 6 and 10 for the Panthers this season. NFC West. San Francisco 49ers, 12 and 4. Now, this is the best division of football. The 49ers, who just came off a Super Bowl loss, should not miss a step this season. Their elite defense will help them win games as well as their high-powered run game. I see them making the playoffs yet again this season and pushing for yet another Super Bowl appearance. They are just that good. Their defense is great and their offense is strong, and I think the 49ers will win between 9 and 13 games. But I think they'll finish 12 and 4 this season. Seattle Seahawks, 11 and 5. The Seahawks just got Jamal Adams in a trade with the Jets. Now, I'm not saying Jamal Adams suddenly makes this falling off Seattle defense the best, but I do see massive improvement this season on the defensive side. Now, of course, when you have Russell Wilson at quarterback, you're going to compete. They have finished with a winning record in each of the last 8 seasons, and don't expect any worse from the Seahawks this season. I expect Seattle to even have a chance to make a run at the Super Bowl, and I see the Seahawks winning between 9 and 13 games this season, my prediction being 11 and 5. Los Angeles Rams, 8 and 8. The Rams cut ties with some key players this offseason. Star running back Todd Gurley was released. However, that wasn't all. They also lost Brendan Cooks, Corey Littleton, and Dante Fowler this offseason. Now having Aaron Donald will always help you compete in every game. But with that being said, the Rams will have to fight for a playoff spot. I think the Rams can win anywhere from 6 to 10 games this season. But my prediction is that they will win 8 games. Arizona Cardinals, 8 and 8. The Cardinals added superstar wideout DeAndre Hopkins via trade this offseason. The Cardinals will enjoy some success this season, with sophomore quarterback Kyler Murray expected to be even better this year, as well as a full season of Kenyon Drake. I think the Cardinals will be able to compete in games this season and improve from their 5-10-1 record from last year. I see the Cardinals competing for a playoff spot and winning between 5 and 10 games, but my prediction is the Cardinals will finish 8 and 8 this season. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to leave your comments down below on what you think I got right or wrong.